I think mixers need some sort of consistency because we need to be comfortable. So yeah, some of the, like I got certain hardware inputs that are always there, certain plugins, certain delays that are coming on this side of the board and reverbs. So we got the setup that's sort of the same. Now, every mix is in a way approached differently. The rough will tell you, okay, you need to pay attention to the vocals, the drums, the bass line, the loop, it's a sample. It'll give you a lot of information. So every mix is sort of different, on the focal point. It's changed so much in the last 7 years where we're getting tracks that are not necessarily recorded well. Because, anybody can get a computer and be a producer, engineer, mixer, artist nowadays, which is great. This is great because it gives us a lot more, creative freedom to kids like, say, my age. I wanted a 4-track and I couldn't afford one, where if I had multi-tracks, 24, that would have been like, woohoo, So nowadays it's great. Technology is very, very good in offering that. But at the same time, on our end, we get a lot of stuff that, it's not recorded that well. But I figure if it's made it here, it's here for a reason. So I got to obviously make the best of it. There's nothing wrong with it because, again, sonic soul perspective. It's a recording. We're trying to catch a performance. So if that performance is distorted, sure, technically it's not right, but they obviously felt something and felt like it needed to stay the way it was, even though everyone's heard that it's been distorted. So I don't question that at all. Would I have done it differently? Yeah. But when it gets here, I go for what is given to me and try to make the best out of it. So if I get a bad, poorly recorded vocal, I sort of focus on that. I shape my mix around that so that all of a sudden the bad sounding recorded vocal, it doesn't sound as bad anymore because everything's around that. And again, it's all colors, how they touch each other. So if I get a kick that sounds horrible, and I'm not so into replacing kicks. I try even though I've done it and I still do, I try to go for what's given to me. I say if it made it this far, there's a reason for that. So if it sounds like a bad kick, it's all subjective. Sure, sonically it may be a bad kick, but how does that kick talk to the snare, and how does that snare talk to the hi-hat, and how does that hi-hat talk to the kick? What are they doing? So if I feel like I can shape something around that kick that sort of drives the song, then I'll leave that kick. I'll leave the way it is, and I'll shape things around that kick. And so I try to find the weakest link and focus on that and shape around that. I don't mix for a particular speaker, which I know we've had, with other peers, we have had this discussion before. And what my job is, I feel, is I want to get it sounding the best I can make it sound coming out of this room, when it leaves this room. So therefore, I do reference on smaller speakers. And again, the style of music kicks in. If I'm doing a John Mayer, I know that it's not going to be played in the club. So why do I need to pay attention to the sub as much as I do to the guitars and the vocal? So, and then I have a Kanye West song that I know is going to be played in the club. So I do pay attention to the lower sub kick and how the 808 and the bass and the kick sort of like how they live in the lower register. So it really depends on the style of music, but I do reference monitors just to make sure that if they do play it on the radio or on MTV, that it just doesn't sound muffled, because it hurts my ears when I play it loud, or vice versa. It doesn't matter what monitor you use, I think. It's how well you know that monitor, how well it translates to the outside world. I'm really blessed that I've been in the same room for so many years to know my monitors, my mains. So when I'm mixing something that's really, again, that needs to be low and good and feels good on the low registers, and luckily I got monitors that over the years we've gone through different amps and different subs to make them sound the way I think they should sound, that translates well in the in the outside world. So hopefully it's working.